Good evening, and thanks very much for joining us.
Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.
And this was the dramatic moment of the arrest. A police officer running to get handcuffs on the suspect, while another kept a gun trained on the prone figure.
We have the suspect detained. 10-4, can we get a positive confirmation on Nicholas Cruz being detained? 10-4.
Cruz was a former student at the school with a history of disciplinary problems and with access to all the weaponry he needed. On his social media accounts, there were disturbing images of Cruz posing with weapons. A perfect storm of a...
Check this guy out. He's got these nice glasses. He's got a nice little fro going on. He's got an earring. Take a listen to him right now.
Honestly, a lot of people were saying that it was going to be him, stuff like that. We threw a lot of kids threw jokes around like that, saying that he was going to be the one to scoot up the school. But it turns out, everyone predicted it. That's crazy.
Now, when you come back, you say I don't know what you were struck by. It seemed like he might be okay, but he was basically saying, "Oh yeah, that was the guy we always made fun of. No, we always picked on him and we laughed at him and we always, he always threw stuff at him and we were bullying him and we all used to make fun of him." And it was like, well, why? What did he do? Well, he was different. He was weird.
None of my friends really saw who it was because all they knew was that they heard gunshots and they just hid as soon as possible that they could in their classrooms.
He was off to his side. His mother had died, so he was different. He had a different life than me. It didn't make it, and then he seems like he's well dressed and he's got nice clothes and he's got a nice little demeanor, right? He's got the chain and he's got earring. It looks like, oh, I live in the suburbs. I live in the subdivisions. I got rich parents. I got parents that pay for my shit. The life is good. I don't understand what was wrong. He didn't have a mother, so we just didn't understand him. It was.
But there was my other friend that said that he did see him in the hallway and he was loading his gun and all he said was run. So the kid ran for his life.
Conclusion is that it's crazy. We all predicted it and then it happened. How's that crazy?
Everyone predicted it. That's crazy.
If everybody predicted it, it's the opposite of crazy. Everybody predicted it, and that's another thing. Everybody, I hate when people talk about, everybody's talking about it. Everybody says that you're stupid. No, everybody's talking about it. Everybody says and you know what? Since everybody does it, then I'm not going to like you either, right? Since everybody's saying it. So, he's had a nice little candy life, so how would he understand the struggle? And then, check out these other two. The Mrs. and Mrs. oh my God, nuh-uh.
Be so frightening for you is that you know the man that is in custody and you've known him since 6th grade. I mean, this is someone that, if not a close friend, was a schoolmate.
Totally. He was just it was weird. He was just we used to make fun of him and we'd spit on him and we used to have this song.
Well, the teachers really didn't even know what was going on around me. The building I was in was the furthest away from the front of the school. So luckily there's a school.
We made up this song and it was just ha ha, you're different, you're an orphan, your mom and dad died. It's not that clever, but that's what we used to do. We don't know why he went crazy though.
And everyone was just like, this isn't a joke. And then I saw a police officer come up right behind me. I was just fearing for my life.
Human lives are dead. I mean, this is one of the worst things you could do to anybody. You've ended their life and anything else that they're going to be. So you put a bookend of that chapter. I remember this misdemeanor case where it was a free speech case, and in Breckinridge County, Kentucky, you don't have free speech. There is no free speech in Breckinridge County, Kentucky.
Evident presumption, great.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may proceed.
Your Honor, the state's relying on the sworn affidavit that the court has been provided as to the 17 counts of first-degree murder.
If you insult one of the elite, they can go ahead and put a warrant out for your arrest. It's a misdemeanor, but when I was in front of the judge for this misdemeanor, she was real shitty, real curt. She wasn't telling me my rights or what. She wanted to hurry up and push me into a conviction. So I just quietly said, well, I need a lawyer, and she shit a brick. She was like, you need a lawyer? What?
Mister, are you Nicholas Jacob Cruz?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir, you are charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder. I have something very important to tell you. You're charged with some very serious crimes. You have the right to remain silent. If you give up that right at any time during this hearing, whatever you say can and will be used against you in the prosecution of this case. State, how would you like to proceed today? Are you seeking to hold the defendant no bond and a finding of proof?
Notice it too with Hispanic-speaking suspected criminals that the judge has to sort of, break it down for them, have to explain all. Then they have plenty of time to think about it. They say the thing, it gets interpreted. They get plenty of time. But instead, for misdemeanor in Breckenridge County, it's just basically wanted to be like, well, are you guilty or not guilty? I guess I'll just surrender and throw mercy at the court. Ha ha! We got you. We got you, you dirty, rotten son of a bitch. So there's no First Amendment. The Patriot Act has shredded the Fourth Amendment. Now, the Second Amendment is under, do you all believe there's more rights than just a Bill of Rights? The Bill of Rights is only, a handful of all of our rights. There's human rights, the United Nations, Declaration of Human Rights. So it means there's actually way more rights than what the Bill of Rights dictates. But if you're going to tell me that I don't deserve some rights and not others, I'm very skeptical. Do you believe I'm allowed to live?
Right next to our school named Westglades, and we walked all the way to behind it, all the way to the other side of its bus loop, and it was just crazy. The whole thing was. I just remember seeing people crying.
Outrageous! It has to be so. God, to see how much respect he is getting. Yeah, he's admitted to it. Yeah, he's remorseful and he's all defeated now. Oh yeah, now he is. Now he's totally defeated, right? This is the person you want to be defeated. This is the person you want to throw the book at it. He's admitted to the crime, and he's killed 17 people. He's 19 years old. So that's very worthy of a death penalty. Now...
and the contents of the sworn affidavit by detectives citing the actions of the defendant in going to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School on February 14th, 2018.
It's... when I compare and contrast, he's got all this respect. The lawyer puts her hand on his back, and the judge actually says, well, let me tell you some information you need to know. Since the cameras are here, a high-profile case, you get all of your rights. I'm not going to be a shitty, corrupt judge from Breckenridge County just trying to shovel you, the slaughterhouse, the injustice system that is the slaughterhouse, just push you on through. A cop accused you of something, or it wasn't even a cop, it was a guy, went in and lied, signed an affidavit, then a warrant was quickly. The guy comes up to me and he's being rude and he's being crazy, so I think he's basically talking to me real stupid because he's about to put his hands on me, he's about to put some violence upon me. So I said, well, do you want to take this outside? And he didn't consent to it, so I walked away. So that was my so-called crime that I got, I got a $500 fine. I had to have a big trial. I had to have a big deal. And I got that, that was apparently, if you ask a principal, do you want to take this outside? That's abuse of a teacher. Oh, that's abuse of a teacher. So how did Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, somebody had to have asked, do you want to take us outside, right? So he said no, so there was no fight, but he was being violent to me. You need to get out of here or what? Or what? Because I want democracy in the school system, because I'm against hierarchy, because I want the students to be strong and independent, to stand up for themselves, to be proud, and to...
There's going to be a thorough investigation. We'll know what happened in this case. Hopefully we can take whatever happened here. We can't save the lives that we lost here, but we can do everything we can to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Everybody's going to feel so reassured when the psychopath governor of Florida, Rick Scott, comes out and reassures the public that even after tragedy, his creepiness, his psychotic creepiness, his soulless demeanor can still give the public the willies.
You just can't imagine how a person can senselessly go shoot and kill another human being.
Now, Rick Scott was going to say, I can't believe somebody did that so heinous, except for he said it with no emotion. Hey, Rick, what the hell do you got in your basement, man? Someone needs to check what the hell Rick Scott has in his basement. He said it like he didn't believe it. There was no heart. There was no emotion to it. My God, that's... when we're being run by psychopaths, is it any surprise that we have people that are psychopaths. Our leaders are psychopaths. Do you expect the people to actually do better than their leaders? When the leaders are psychos, the people's going to be a bunch of psychopaths. So is it really a...
His defense lawyer insists that Cruz has profound regrets.
He's sad, he's mournful, he's remorseful. He is fully aware of what is going on. And he's just a broken human being.
Cool Springs Police wants to evacuate approximately 40 students from building 800.
Point I'm going to make, there was a clip where the SWAT team comes into a classroom and they have their guns pointed at all the students. They got, what is that, assault rifles? So these cops, the SWAT team, have assault rifles and they're pointed at all the children, right? Good thing they didn't hiccup or, stumble and accidentally shoot one of them. Now they go into this classroom. I want to believe that they're good. I want to be like, yay, the heroes are here, right? We're cooped up in this classroom, and we're scared. There's shootings. We don't know what's going on. But the cops come in, and I guess they're going to pretend that all the students, right, the masses, the people, every one of us is fucking guilty. As if what? There's a shooter running around in the school, and then he's being hidden by these classmates. They're keeping him quiet, like, oh, my God, we'll keep your secret. We'll keep you safe. Bullshit. They were afraid of him, but they were being treated like criminals. And so
the shooting itself was filmed on a phone. Too distressing to show in full. The opening gunshots are shockingly loud. And this footage shows the moment a heavily armed SWAT team entered a classroom to reach terrified students.
Hands, put your hands up. Please. Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.
It's a pretty innocent question. It was just something I had noticed, and I said, I quoted what the SWAT team comes in. They come in and they say, hello, students, something like that, and then they say, all right, put your cameras down. What is that? Why do we need to make sure we put the cameras down? It's kind of like, the same Breckinridge County, Kentucky courtroom that you go into, you got the bailiff who says, take your hands out of your pockets, no, sit over here, sit over there, don't stand like that, don't look like that, just wipe that fuck you, man. You're just bullying me. That's all you're doing, pushing me here, pushing me there. So Robert Christian, who's a troll, he's got no about information, he's got no pictures. So this Russian hacker, he is just shitting on all my posts, and then some lady was going down all his posts and liking everything that he had to say. So just an innocent question, why did they say turn the cameras off? Now, I'm not saying that it was a sinister thing, but the way that people react, like, hey, they're good and they're always good and they're always going to be...
America is left to grapple with the consequences of another mass shooting in a school.
Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.
Just assume, oh yeah, they're doing good just because they're doing good. They are wearing black. They all have fucking guns. They're jackbooted thugs with assault fucking rifles. You all want to be for gun control, but meanwhile, the police have assault rifles. You going to de-arm the police? If you're not going to have an Andy Griffith kind of society, then you're a fucking hypocrite. You're a goddamn hypocrite. So the question, it just strikes me as arbitrary. If I go into a classroom, what, they haven't found the shooter, he's not going to be hiding with a bunch of, 30 other students who are fucking scared to death. And then when they pulled in, you should have been, happy and celebrated. And then guess what? They do all this extra stuff. Somebody says, well, maybe, with their cell phone, they was texting to a shooter on the outside. No, they were holding the cameras up, and they were filming and recording them. That was the important thing for the SWAT team, to make sure nobody records them, because they didn't catch the shooter. The shooter escaped.
Police radio communications reveal the urgency and the confusion that surrounded their entry into the school.
Gary, does he know where the shooter is? We don't know, but we're entering the building, part of the 13 building 13.
One student followed a teacher's suggestion and used a textbook as a shield.
And she's like, grab a book, grab a book.
Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.
The shooter was in their midst, that you have to treat the entire community, the entire nation like a bunch of fucking pricks. Put your camera down. That's the thing, is that the lawful and the obedient and compliant, yeah, of course they can handle them. The quiet students, God, they made sure those quiets those kids put their camera phones down and turned them off, all that power, but you're afraid of one guy being a shooter. You want to record the shooter, right? But he might shoot you. Same thing with the cops. Same thing with the SWAT team. You put the camera up, and what if they didn't do? That's the first order you say when you come into the room. Like, all right, everybody up against the wall. Is the shooter in here? No questions, right? Just assume they're all a bunch of fucking criminals. Tell them to turn their cameras off. Meanwhile, when they're ordering and bullying around these students who are scared to death of one shooter, now they got assault rifles in their face. Not just one assault rifle, but lots of assault rifles. And then, you know, come on.
And shot 17 individuals who later died as a result of the gunshot wounds, and then he fled the scene. So the state is seeking a no bond hold.
You know, on school violence, and as a society, you know, as Americans, we're failing our children, we're not keeping them safe, and Congress is failing us and the government is failing us, and something has to be done.
Many of those killed were found in high school captures, the terror of pupils.
Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.
There's a mass shooter running around, and they're worried about being recorded. Meanwhile, the surveillance is recording every single one of their steps. But there's no person. They can't bully a surveillance tape, right? Well, they can if they go to the control room, which actually probably where the shooter is anyways. The shooter was able to escape, so all their tactics and all their assault rifles and all their guns, just guns on top of guns and lots of guns, and liberals love guns. Liberals want lots of assault rifles and tanks and militarize the police, and they love the FBI. Even if they kill Fred Hampton, even if they told MLK to go kill themselves, even if they said to Pete Seeger that, wait a second, you're against fascism? Well, will your anti-fascism ever impede with your American nationalism? So, wait a second. Are we Americans or I thought I'm an anti-fascist American. Isn't that possible? Can't we all be anti-fascist Americans? Against the bullies, against the fucking assholes that just want to...
With a premeditated design in that he went loaded with an AR-15 rifle. He had additional ammunition with him.
I have the gunshot victim. He's by the entrance to Westglades on the west side of the school.
The country again confronting images of frightened teenagers running for their lives. A policeman carrying a survivor to safety. Amid this Valentine's Day massacre, a young man with access to guns and harboring a grudge beyond comprehension. Earlier today, the president, a fierce defender of gun rights and the Second Amendment, made his first comments on the tragedy.
So I took a book, it was a tiny book, but I took a book and I held it up, and I believe maybe the book kind of deterred some of the bullets, so it didn't hit me so badly.
Teachers here say they're tired of leaders expressing sympathy, but doing nothing.
I mean, here we are, and we're like the latest statistic on...
You just can't imagine how a person can senselessly go shoot and kill another human being.
Let's go.
Other pupils were hiding under desks and in cupboards. Some teachers defending students with their bodies and with their very lives.
Okay, so I'm a police officer. Now, we just stormed the building. We're a SWAT team. I got all these men that's, flanking me. That's on my side. We have all the firepower in the world. I go into a classroom with a bunch of students. I'm not going to victimize them or push them around and be like, hey, did y'all see the shooter? Where's the shooter at? Is one of you? And then if they're acting weird or something, then perhaps that would tip me off. But I would assume most classroom of students who's, off to the side, they're good, right? They're good. Now, if I was to bust into the classroom, go ahead and record me. I don't care. I'm not going to do anything wrong. Record every goddamn thing I'm doing. The surveillance is recording me. You can record me. And if you got your camera up, you're not typing to the shooter. You got your camera up. What, is it like connected to a satellite? Meanwhile, the TV media stations, they're allowed to record anything and everything because they got these big honking trucks and these, big expensive cameras. But these students who have no power whatsoever, they're going to bully them. If I was to go in that classroom and be like, all right, everybody, let's start cooking tater tots.
Inside the school, but the gunman had escaped. His identity was already known.
Description of the subject is going to be a white male, last name wearing a burgundy shirt, possibly Nicholas Cruz.
The shooting itself was filmed on a phone. Too distressing to show in full. The opening gunshots are shockingly loud.
Fire rescue. One injured person. He's shot.
And of police teams leading pupils to safety, while other units hunted for a heavily armed killer on the loose. Video from inside the hut. And this footage shows the moment a heavily armed SWAT team entered a classroom to reach terrified students.
I mean, you just can't imagine how a person can senselessly go shoot and kill another human being.
Put your phones away. Put your phones away.
Does anybody have bolt cutters? I can get this kid out of the fence.